Hello, one and all, to another story. This is not one of the more upbeat stories that I normally tell. This is the story of betrayal, rage, revenge, and suffering. This is the story of the immortal goose and the great Hjönkening that he caused to avenge his wife. After the humans turned her to stone, the goose only knew one thing: eternal torment and fury that he would soon spread upon the people of his village for the days yet to come. This is the story of the immortal goose and how he caused the great Hjönkening. Hello and welcome. Today we find ourselves watching the majestic goose as it swims around in its lake. Watch how it stretches its wings. The majestic goose oftentimes likes to eat a sandwich, maybe some apples, just like the rest of us. This goose, during its time of hunger, will often search out for the nearest food it can find, regardless if it's stealing from people or not. The majestic goose will often find trouble whenever it can. Many people are afraid of this goose for all the havoc that it shall wreak. With an affinity for shiny things, the goose will often take anything that catches its eye, such as the keys of the local gardener, and deposit them along with the rest of its junk. This gracious creature knows only havoc and must be feared at all times. Watch as it's waiting for its unsuspecting victim. Humans cannot begin to fathom the terror that is the mighty goose. Watch. He lures his prey and feeds off of chaotic energy. Come, Mr. Gardener. What are you going to do? And just like that, the goose is fed. What are you going to do about it, Mr. Gardener? You have no way back in, but the goose does. The goose shall now go ahead and do what he does best. He follows his prey, offering his own rose as a sample, but the man ignores him. So what is the goose to do? He leaves his flower in the basket, like any good goose. Meanwhile, the goose explores and finds their next victim. The goose, having found what looks to be a blue bow tie, and not having thumbs to put it on himself, searches for his next victim. The crockety old man, wishing to take everything from the goose, has nothing left to fear. the goose itself. The goose must take the imposter, for it has seen too much. This fake goose will become a great bride. The majestic and somewhat dim-witted King Goose. Will the lady know the difference between her statue goose and the real goose? It appears she will not. And just like that, the goose is dressed for his first performance. He shall sing to the people. He shall dance for them. The goose has ancient, wise words, and the people must listen. Hjönk, hjönk, says the goose. Hjönk, hjönk indeed. Using a masterful disguise, the mighty goose is able to sneak his way in past the barred metal defenses of the old man. The angry barkeep never knew what hit him. And just like that, the goose is free. He shall now perform for the two women. His stage is ready. Hjönk, hjönk. He bows to the audience and tells them everything they need to know. The great winds are coming. He takes his flowers payment. Knowing that the angry barkeep must leave again, he is careful not to draw unwanted attention. Will the barkeep notice? The barkeep has taken the bait. Now the goose only has a small amount of time. Go, goose. You are free. And just like that, the goose has gathered another flower for the Hjönkening. Good job, goose. Yes, very well done. Hjönk, hjönk indeed. The goose, wishing to return the ribbon now that he had no longer any use for it, the ribbon has been returned. The goose, not yet satisfied with his chaotic fill, decides to destroy the ribbon. He is yet not even close to being done. But who will notice but a missing flower? The woman knows not what she has done, which is all well and good. The man will not know of his beloved prized possession until much later. He decides that he wants to keep the ribbon on after all. and the man will never be any the wiser. He finds the dreaded missing bush, and now the two have a heated argument. All is going according to plan for the goose. Everything is as it should be. Chaos and disorder. It feeds him. The goose is not one to be trifled with, as many know. Another rose, another flower, all for the Hjönkening. The man was able to find himself back in touch with his garden, but at what cost? Hello there. He takes the flower and he runs. It's not like the gardener can do anything. He's trapped in there. And just like that, the man is none the wiser. The goose feeds off of chaos. And so, to feed his hunger, he sows it wherever he can. The goose has found a new victim. A small child. He does not feel pity for the small child, only chaos. This child will never see a thing again. The goose has made sure of that. As the goose waddles away, he knows he is victorious. The groundskeeper has no need for the glasses, and has no reason to suspect what the goose has done. All is going according to plan. Besides, his general will need the goose's glasses much more than that boy ever would. Hjönkening, mister. Give that to the woman next door, and she shall dress up the goose's general. The goose, like loving to cause chaos anywhere they can, tends to just destroy. That's all they know. Destruction of everything. The goose steals another flower to summon the Hjönkening. She will never know. Only one more flower left for the Hjönkening. Will his general be ready? There's only one way to find out. He must get his general ready for the chaos that is about to ensue. This time, there will be no peace. Employing stealth tactics once again, the mighty goose surprises the old barkeep. The box deliverer knows nothing, and will continue to do so if she knows what's good for her. And just like that, the goose is once again free. Stealing the old man's kazoo, he has made a clean escape. Watch as this once proud and majestic creature gets ready to unleash war upon this unsuspecting world. They do not know what has hit them, nor will they ever. The goose leaves his offering to the old man, who is just trying to read his paper. He just sits there waiting to see who will break first. The sign displeases the goose. You will have to take it down, gardener. Again! This time the goose is ready. The gardener, balding as he may be, no longer cares for his hat, which in and of itself is fine. He has another. But now, take this hat to the woman. Let her deal with it. Madame. Dress up the general, ma'am. Yes. Give him the kazoo. The harmonica. Yes. Yes. Now the general is ready. The general is ready for the oncoming war. The Hjönkening. It begins soon. Stealth Goose is on the case. Once the barkeep is out of sight, the goose makes his move and he runs. There's only one thing left needed for the Hjönkening, and that is a flower. The final flower. The goose has made it into the model village, and in order to feed off the chaos he so desperately needs, he shows just what he thinks of all the villagers in this town. The goose proceeds to attempt to drown the townspeople, feeding off of the chaotic energy that it produces. None escape the goose's wrath. In the end, there is only the goose. He is making plans for war. All that shall be destroyed during the Hjönkening. The goose values no property, only chaos. All shall be tossed into the river. Destruction of everything. The goose values nothing. The crockety old man, who seems to have problems respecting the goose's authority, first he shall start by losing his fountain. The goose surveys his work so far and admires it, but it is not enough. This entire town has wronged him. This entire town will burn. Or rather, it shall swim. The painter, who only wanted to spend her time painting what remains of a broken vase, shall lose her easel. In the great Hjönkening, nothing is sacred. All shall be removed. So says the great and mighty goose. Hjönk indeed, my friend. Waddle along, mighty goose. Your work is not yet finished. The old man who is playing darts is not safe from the persecution of the goose either. All shall be drowned by the fiery waters of the goose. Hjönk, hjönk. Another one swims. Here we see a model of the town. Within a model of the town. The goose cares not. The only thing the goose cares for is the destruction and chaos with which he can bring. This town has wronged him, and he will make sure that that wrong is avenged. Looking upon the scene of his destruction, the goose comes to understand it is time. The goose, with confidence of one that can only be called an immortal, takes the final flower, swims through the wreckage which he will soon cause, to begin the Hjönkening. Once this flower gets deposited, all shall be going according to plan. The old man knows not what is about to happen. Neither does the farmer. Here it is, the final flower. A willing sacrifice and payment for what is about to happen. The goose makes sure all flowers are in order. It appears that they are. And now, the final preparations must be made. The goose shall go and grab his bride. The goose is almost ready. He goes and gathers his bride. His bride will have the beautiful bow tie it deserves. It is done. His bride is dressed beautifully. This is why the goose is getting his revenge. This once beautiful fellow goose has become stone from these humans. Much like Medusa, the goose wants his vengeance, and he shall have it at any cost. The goose hopes that this Hjönkening that he has heard so much about, that his revenge will somehow bring his wife back. Little does this poor goose know, his fellow goose has long been gone and is beyond saving. All he can do is hope. He brings his goose wife slowly and carefully. He brings the goose wife over and he tries to show her, look at all the things that I have done for you, goose wife. But Still, she is stone. He lets out honks of desperation. But there's nothing, only silence. The goose now only has one option left. He must commence the Hjönkening in hopes that his goose wife shall return to him. These humans have wronged him, and he will make them pay. Much as in the model city above, so too below. These poor, pitiful humans, they have no idea the damage they have caused upon themselves. He grabs the horn, and he begins his trek back. It will be a long trek, mind you. A very dangerous one, in fact. The goose knows this, and yet he is ready. He has planned everything down to the most minute of destruction. They shall all float. The goose can commence now. Knowing that the humans have locked the way, he must take the long trek back. He has been discovered. He must run. Look at your destruction, humans, and know that this is the end. Know this is the beginning of the Hjönkening. The flowers have been gathered. The general has been prepared. The wife goose has been taken. Watch. All is going according to plan. He sounds the bells of war. The general has laid eyes upon the bell and ordered the goose to ring the larger bell. This will send a message to all minions of the goose. It is time for war. The goose carefully sets the bell back down. And he decides to get dressed himself. After all, it's not often you go to war. The goose is ready. The bells have been rung again. Now is the time. Hello there. The goose is not yet finished. He still has one more thing left to do. They robbed him of his elegance. They shall pay for that dearly. times the bell rings. For the ancient and elderly goose. The one goose that shall ring destruction upon all these poor townspeople. For they know not what they have done. They have released the Hjönkening. At this point, it is a clear getaway for the goose. Years of planning have come to this. His wife, his goose wife, shall be avenged. The townspeople shall pay. With excellent certainty that he has not been spotted, the goose slides past the gardener. He even goes back to mock the gardener. Hello there, gardener. And now that he has surpassed all other obstacles, he is free. He has done it. He has gathered all 8 of the golden bells. And now, goose wife, you can be revived. Go, goose wife. Go. He has gathered the 8 bells and tossed his goose wife into the summoning ritual. The Hjönkening will commence now. The barkeep's wife, she shall be tossed into the river. The shopkeep, the pub owner, they live their lives as normal, knowing not what havoc they have wreaked upon themselves. Their days are peaceful for now, but the goose has been granted immortality, and he shall spend the rest of his days making sure that they know all the pain he has caused ever since they took his wife from him. The small child, being without glasses, may be the only one that survives the Hjönkening, simply because one must survive to tell the tale. Hjönk, hjönk. And that, my friends, is the tale of the Hjönkening. Thank you. And until next time, if you like this story, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.